So let's have a look. What are they gonna do? Let's. Oh, this is ban phase. Okay, Ziggs ban, standard. I'm surprised they banned that on blue side, but I mean it makes sense. It's been preferred to take on red side, especially with things like Viego being so strong. Like he's usually a B1 into an R2 or R1 Ziggs. Lucian ban, okay, again, Lucian's a good B1. Like, what you'll see is on Dan one side, they're just banning things that are going to be B1-able. So, Bro apparently B1 Renekton as well, like so many other teams. So this is kind of similar to Korea, to China actually. So, you know, I do want us to see different issues on kind of like the Korean side of things compared to what China had. China, like, they just fight for everything. Like, they're like, okay, we've got double TP, let's TP and lose both of our lanes. Like, it's crazy. So, LeBlanc ban, I'm surprised again. Like, because, you know, that's B1-able too, especially considering. But so, for me, this shows that they're looking for a Xin Zhao. They're looking for, like, Xin Zhao, Diana, in this B1 slot. Especially since 11.15. If this isn't Xin Zhao, I'm going to be very surprised. Or maybe they want to favor something like the Syndra, but I don't think Syndra is B1-able. Okay, the Viego, that's fine too. So Korea were much more up to date on the meta than China. Because this B1 didn't really come out as much in China. Like Viego was getting left until like B5. So Ryze, obviously Ryze is OP. And Aphelios. Okay, so they've prioritized the Ryze here. Bro have to take the Thresh away, I think, now. But then that could just force DK to go into the Braum. So they're picking the AD, you know, doesn't really give anything away in draft. And then Orianna into Ryze. So I have been informed that this matchup is very Orianna favored. And there's not much that Ryze can actually do into it, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, Showmaker. Sorry, Canyon's Lee Sin. I think this pick is super broken, to be honest. I said this for a while. I said ages ago that I think Lee Sin's a little bit busted. Especially as soon as so Lee Sin became kind of busted as soon as the patch dropped, which changed the respawn timers. As soon as the respawn timers went from 2 minutes to 2:15, Lee Sin just becomes good again, because he gets more time on the map. Where if you full clear, you're not gonna have anything else to farm. So okay, Leona ban. I'm surprised they. Actually, I mean they're probably banning Leona because they're looking for something like Thresh, right? Like. Even though Thresh does kind of counter Leona, Leona's just too broken right now, I think. Like the champion will just 1v1 your ADC. So oh, they've even put a little star under their badge. They do that in most traditional sports to signify a world championship. Or like a really big league win. Okay, so Naban, Ornn ban. Okay, I mean, so I think they're banning the Ornn here because the Viego just wants to play around Ashe and get fed. Like, obviously, Orianna doesn't really have CC for Viego to gank as easily, so if he misses his W, it's kind of doomed to gank mid. So I think they're going to look for a big, heavy bot laner here. I think they need to take Braum because Thresh is banned. Or they might want to leave support to the last pick. But Ashe Braum is such a disgusting combo. I really think they're griefing if they leave it open. Tam! Nah, no, please. No, please. Don't do it. Don't do it. Braum is open. Man, Tam fucking sucks. Tam is just not a good champ, in my opinion. Like, he's way too squishy. They're going with Set, okay, and maybe that's Set top, and they go Braum here, and they just look to absolutely shaft bot lane. Yeah. Like, Bro's draft is actually really fucking good. I mean, I don't think it'll matter, because they've got Philios and Rise, who are more than enough late game, and Lee Sin's kind of a very strong early game kind of facilitator for those champs. But I don't know, I like Bro's draft. Okay, so they're going Gragas into the set. GP, okay, that actually changes a lot. That changes a lot, actually. Because now they have an Aphelios, a Rise, and a GP. If DK get to like 25, 30 minutes, like they just win guaranteed. Like, guaranteed. The problem is for them is that they're against a Viego who has a ridiculous amount of setup in bot. And pretty sure Orianna gets prio early as well. If she wants it, obviously. I don't think forcing prio for no reason is ever good. Okay, so overall, in terms of draft, I really like both drafts, to be completely honest. I do think both drafts are really good. I do think, though, that DK are a team that can easily pull off so many scaling picks in one game. And they've got this Lee Sin, so this game is on Canyon. If Canyon pops off and actually uses his early game potential, then I think DK just instantly win. But I think that if they try and shut them out, so if, say, the Braum moves with the Viego into the jungle, leaves Ashe to farm safely, then they're going to be in a good spot. Now, Bro do have the winning bot lane in terms of the 2v2 early. Very hard. Now, even though Aphelios is a massive lane bully, he struggles into people of equal range to him, which Ashe has. And then Ashe has her slow on a passive as well, which especially later on into the game where she gets some crit, that's going to definitely make things a little bit harder for the Aphelios. Hey, Annabelle, how's it going, man? How's your day? Right, let's have a look at runes. So I feel like I want to have a look at runes a bit more. So we've got the sets looking pretty standard. Second win thingy. I'm glad that he didn't go bone plating, to be honest, because it'll just get poked out. We have Viego, Boots, and Cosmic. That's fine. You went with that too. Okay, great. I wouldn't mind seeing something a bit more aggressive, but that's completely fine. Like the tenacity here. I mean, I feel like this tenacity is just completely. It's just kind of bad, because of who's he building tenacity against? Like, okay, Gangplank had slows, like... Oh, no, wait, never mind. I thought they had Grasp Ori. I was gonna say Shami was ahead. Oh, God, wait, I mean... The Scorch on Orianna. Espen, if you're watching, please don't lose your mind. Please. Okay, so... Ashe runes, standard. Zombie ward, I like to see. Cosmic, okay, great. Braum does have stopwatch, which is very, very good here, because this actually allows the Viego to get a much earlier dive on bot lane. So you can tell even by the runes in this game, the Bro's plan is to basically punish this bot lane as much as they can. So that's what they're going to go for, I think. Lee Sin, I think Lee Sin does need tenacity here. So I like Canyon's runes. In terms of, okay, Gangplanks are fine. Yeah, Braum Ashe is amazing. And the thing is, DK had the opportunity to take Braum, and they chose Tam instead. Even though Ashe was highlighted. So, let me... Okay, so Tam Kench has gone Hail of Blades. So that's going to be interesting. It's to get his 3 stacks instantly and then eat, I'm fairly certain. I think this was before he got reworked. So it was just a case of he's just looking for those stacks. So Showmaker instantly opening up with some very aggressive layering on the wave. So this means that he's going to look to go a little bit aggressive here in the early game. As soon as he doesn't have a last hit, and Orianna does, he's just going to kind of run it down a little bit. So we could see a potential early skirmish in mid lane in a little bit of time. Top lane is looking fine. Set wasted his W, so I would like to see Khan go a little bit more aggressive there. Just because now, you know, Set doesn't have an ability to use. So I would have liked a little bit more aggression. He's just going to spam him down with Qs, which is okay. And that's kind of how you want to look to play GP early into the game. Especially since this was pre-reworked GP, where his Q still counted as a melee attack, which meant you could use things like Grasp on your Q, and that's what made his laning really, really oppressive. Now you can't do that because it's a ranged attack, so it's a little bit more iffy, but overall, this was on 11.15, so we have to take that into consideration. Lee Sin pathing towards its top side. Obviously, Aphelios is pretty safe. He does have a Kench, which I presume they drafted because they thought it'd be like a replacement to Thresh since he was banned, but I think Braum is way better with an Aphelios. So we have quite a big trade top. Khan's going to look to crash this wave in a reset, I'm fairly certain. Since Lee Sin doesn't really need prio for anything. Okay, so this is greedy. Like, this guy gets a free reset here, but he didn't go for it. I mean, he is 19 CS right now, and he does want to try and punish this set for as much CS as possible, I guess. But I don't know. I feel like when they know that Viego started topside and they're pathing towards bot, I guess there's no danger for him to reset though. So there's no jungler in that vicinity that would require a cheater, and he was a little bit slow with getting a crash, so maybe that's why he didn't want to. He doesn't have Futures Market either, I don't think, so he can't back for an early Sheen, which is a bit disappointing, because early Sheen back on GP is unbelievably strong, since that Q procs your Sheen quite nicely. So right now, obviously, this is kind of standard in bot lane. We have, you know, nearly a 2-wave differential for the Ashe. But this because, you know, Aphelios can't really do that much in bot lane, especially when he has a Tam with him. I think Aphelios can be a massive lane bully, but he has to have the right support with him, and he has to be in the right matchup. Ashe Braum is really not a good matchup for Aphelios, because obviously you've got Ashe's slows. As soon as Braum hits them after she slowed them, then they'll get marked, and then it's obviously 4 hits, and they get stunned, which is insane, especially when they get level 6. This lane becomes extremely difficult for Aphelios, because unless he uses his flash to dodge the Ashe arrow, he can get Ashe arrowed into a Braum Q, and then while he's still arrowed, he can, you know, get hit 4 times for another stun, and Braum can even use his ultimate to, you know, keep him there for even longer. So the amount of CC chain that they have in bot lane right now is insane. I do really like how is pathing here, because he's literally just full clearing over and over to get 6 as soon as possible for that execute, and then his path is leading into this bottom side of the map as well. Unfortunately with Canyon, he isn't doing that, so I'm not too fond of the way that he's pathing. He's pathing more towards top side, which means he's like letting some pressure off bot, which is okay based on his comp. But I still think that sometimes, even though your comp might allow you to path one way, you should still choose a different way, because, you know, there's more impact that you can get. Now this was a really good trade, a nice short trade. They didn't overcommit. They just chunked Ori out, and now Ryze can just easily push this wave in and then harass her under the tower. There's no point in really... Okay, this is good. He's actually going to look to get a reset off. He is 10 CS up. Orianna is going to farm quite a lot of that wave there, though. But now the Ryze doesn't need to use his teleport to get back to lane, which is obviously pretty good. He has gone with the Lucidity Boots just because I think that's all he could afford. I'm not too sure Lucidity Boots are that great on Ryze, but I think this might have been the patch where they were only 900 instead of 950. So they were very cheap, and you could get them on much earlier resets. Which is what I think's happened here. So Umti going in for an aggressive trade on Canyon, but Delight is here on the Braum, ready. So, oh, a lovely shockwave, and they get the nice double kill. Oh, yep, nice. Okay, so that was really nice. So actually transformed into the Lee Sin then just so that he could land the Q, which was really nice to see. He has got level 6 now, so he's got this execute, and he is walking straight into bot lane. I would like to see him get the dragon here instead of coming into bot lane, but I think he's just getting Scuttle and leaving it there. Yeah, he's going to reset off. So now what he's going to do is, as we can see in the top side of the map, his blue has spawned and his camps have started spawning. So they have this shrine right now. So what he can do is he can go up and he can clear these top side camps. He can path into bot side, and then he's super strong with level 6 and all his camps, and then he can get a lot of pressure on bot lane with the advantage that he has, and that can translate into this dragon. So one of the reasons why you don't really see junglers as much anymore going for early dragons is purely because of this nice little interaction that they put in with the jungle smite item. So as we can see right now, they both have one charge left to go before they finish their quest. So in this moment, they don't really want to try and flip objectives because it takes them so much time to actually do the objectives due to the fact that you know, they don't have that 900 smite, and then as soon as they get it, they're great. So it's yeah, it's a little bit all over the place. I don't know why his wolves didn't spawn yet, but the Lee Sin is bot, and they're going for a 4-man dive. Okay, so they do have the GP ult as well, so that helps a massive amount, and there's not really too much they can do here. I think this Orianna TP is just completely pointless. Like, why she went with it, I don't know, and she just dies now too. She doesn't actually have yeah, okay, so she had flash and she just didn't use it. Viego does get this herald, but the thing is, they should have just backed away from bot lane at that point anyway. They shouldn't have continued going, or actually stayed by their tower when they knew Viego was top lane, and, you know, he could potentially get that herald. So, in terms of Bro, their kind of strategy kind of broke down purely because their bot lane didn't decide to back away from the lane, you know. So right now, Khan and Set are on even CS. This is obviously because Set has picked up steel caps at this point, which is very big in this lane because Set has a massive amount of HP regen in his kit. So if he gets the steel caps for that armor, he's going to not only be reducing the amount of damage the Gangplank does, but he's going to be reducing the amount of time needed for him to regen the heal that he does, because, you know, he's taking less. So overall, it just gives him a lot more kind of grit in the lane, and he can stay much longer. So it's kind of nice to see. So this was that double kill, so this was really good. The Viego got a catch, and they didn't expect the Braum to be here, which was the biggest mistake, because the Lee Sin gets stunned by the Braum and then into the Orianna shockwave, then the Viego turns into the Lee Sin and just finishes them off with Q. So this was a really nice rotation from Braum, but obviously they get punished later on with this bot dive. The TP from Orianna, I think, was completely pointless. Instead of TPing bot and responding to a play that is already over when you're still going to have a numbers disadvantage, is completely grief, and I don't know what this guy was doing. This was disputably the worst play ever, because now the wave in mid lane is good for the rise, and he didn't get punished whatsoever for actually rotating, but he got assists. So very crazy. So we're not reviewing Bro's gameplay because they're not worlds, but it's still kind of grave. Hey, how's it going, Jimmy? Tam Kench still a good support? I don't think so. I don't think Tam Kench ever was a good support. I think he was good with Senna for fasting, but that's just because Senna kept him alive. He's too squishy early game, so we do see a gank on bot lane. Unfortunately, nothing comes out of it, but Canyon is actually in this bush waiting. So he... Oh, okay, so they actually managed to catch him there with the Ash W. So that was very unfortunate, because, you know, if he would have missed that, then they didn't know he was there. They had no vision, so it was a really sneaky play by him. So Set ults Khan into the tower, but then he does have to reset because it's very low. It was more of an ult for him to escape rather than kind of like an aggressive ultimate. So we'll keep seeing Khan just poking out the tower right now. Set did actually cancel his recall because the wave got pushed in anyway, so no real reason to reset, but he's going to have to use his W on that wave, otherwise Gangplank's just going to poke about constantly with his Q, especially considering he has so much mana now and 2 biscuits. Now Hinner, again, I don't know why he is still under this tower. Like they have entire control of bot lane right now. Like, he just can't stay under that tower. Like, it's just so grief. The Braum wasn't even there. And it's obvious that the Lee Sin is going to continuously gank bot right now because of Flash. Okay, so right now looking at the scoreboard, Canyon is huge. So here, I don't know why they're replaying this. It's just complete grief. Braum was inside the jungle. Ashe was on her own at bot lane tower with no flash. There's no reason she should be there. She should be putting a ward, and I mean his support as well actually should be putting a ward here just so that they can spot Canyon coming around, and as soon as they spot, they just hug this wall and they just go all the way back here and they just run. Like, it's just so grief. Okay, so Canyon picked up a little bit of solo XP there. Not too bad. Obviously, Viego has more farm, but Viego is a more farm-oriented jungler, whereas Lee Sin is less farm-oriented, more kind of early pressure, early ganks, shut someone out of the game. So I think Canyon is playing this game very, very well to just... I think his early pathing was a bit grief, but he's punished bot lane very, very hard later on, so it's kind of nice to see. I don't know if this was Damonkia misreading Bro's draft or what they were looking for, or if he just wanted to get the extra leash on bot lane for the extra energy and the kill. So he's actually level 9 to Braum's level 6 right now, and a fight going down on bot lane. Set manages to pull Showmaker in, and Viego's actually here. So this could actually be the end for Show. Oh, okay, he actually managed to get out with the Rise ult. The Viego W couldn't actually land, otherwise he would have probably died there. Actually, he would have died there. So now they're just going to lay down on this turret. Obviously, Aphelios has red-white, which means they can choose a fight whenever they want to. So they do have to really, really be careful and back away from this top lane right now. We can see that he swapped to... oh, okay, so he swapped to red gun just so that he could keep white for as long as possible, since that's the most damage. Even if you end up going white-blue, that's still probably the highest damage combo, I think. Like, red-white is more so if you need to survive and also do a ton of damage, since you get a lot of healing off it. So he's just looking to push this in now. He does have sufficient vision in top lane, and Canyon is near. So they are just going to look to siege this tier 2 tower top. Actually, they don't really mind that dragon going, although it's an ocean, so it would have allowed them to get to their soul as quick as possible, but I think they're just going to go for the Herald. I want to see Aphelios do this Herald alone without Canyon. This is really, really good to see. Really good to see, actually. Because if Lee Sin starts this Herald, it's just kind of a waste of time when he can take away the enemy's camps. But they are actually looking to start a fight here, so... Okay. So Aphelios is sat on his blue gun, which is going to do a massive amount of damage. So if he actually manages to get an ult off when they're clumped, it's going to be a huge team fight. So I don't think Bro are in a position to take this team fight. I think they just hard lose the game here. Like, this seems so grief. Oh, Orianna got an amazing shockwave though, actually. So that was actually that was okay. Like, Orianna's shockwave was very, very good. That turned the fight entirely. She managed to get, I think, 3 of them with it. So So in terms of pros, okay. So we see this fight again, actually. Let's break this fight down a little bit longer, because this was looking very, very good for DK, and then they missed position massively. So the Tam Kench gets popped out. That's what I mean, that I don't think Tam Kench is very good. And then all of a sudden, the Rise manages to get a lot. Lee Sin manages to Q, but the Set just instantly ults him into the Rise, which is a massive amount of damage. And then Set manages to E them into the Orianna ultimate. So that was insane. Like, between the Set and the Orianna there, they played that fight really, really well. A Set to set up for the Orianna to pop off. So here we see Set's POV. So he goes in, he manages to get them. Orianna ult, very, very good. Orianna ult 3 people there. And it results in getting 2 kills from it. So I do like those little pro view kind of snippets, to be honest. But this game just changed very, very much. And I wouldn't expect a team like DK to be struggling in situations like this. Yeah, Jesus, Jimmy. Annabelle is a dude. Come on, man. So right now, this game is literally Battle of the Junglers. Although, I do somewhat think that even though Canyon's played it great, I do think Umpty has kind of had a better kind of fundamental game, to be honest. Okay, so we can't chase that. He does have ult, but oh, he does manage to get it. He uses his flash to get it, though. I'm not quite sure if the flash is worth it, considering the Rise was already 1, 2, and 3. But, I mean, he does get the kill, and it does allow them to siege top. And, I mean, it is continuing this Viego snowball. So, it's not that bad. And, you know, I think Umpty is actually playing this extremely well, especially considering he's against Canyon. Like, I think he's doing really, really well here. I like his pathing early. I like what he's achieved in the game, in this early game. I don't like some of the things he's done, but it has kind of been where he's reacted to what's happening. So I like how I can see what his game plan was, and you know, that's what I kind of like out of the team, to be honest. Like, where you can tell what their objective with that game is. Now, Canyon is just dead here. He was looking for a flank to dive on mid. Can is here, though, but he does actually use his W on the Set ultimate. The Viego gets in now, but he doesn't have his ultimate since he used it top, and he does get shut down by the GP. So this is actually really, really good for DK, because getting such a big shutdown on a carry who is basically usually going to be a late game carry is amazing. This GP is going to be huge now based on that. Just 1 kill, to be honest. He was already going to be huge based on time. But now that kill has basically taken some of the time that he needs to scale off, which is really, really good. Okay, so we can see this kill on the Rise. There's a control word in here. Oh, he plays with a very dark screen though. There we go. He does flash for it. Like I said, I'm not sure this flash was worth it. It did get him killed later on in this play. So I don't think it was worth him flashing for that Rise, because, you know, he would have killed quite a few people here, actually, and it would have changed the game entirely. So I think very greedy out of Umpty. I think that's one of the first big mistakes he's actually made. So he does come for this flank, and he has to use his W to get away from the Tam Kench, which means, you know, a lot of his damage and time to actually do things is very, very restricted. Canyon does actually get his Q on him, but the GP does get it with his ultimate, which is much better. Now we can see that based on that kill, GP is now on 2 items with his Serpent's Fang too. So now he's basically going to be shredding through shields. Serpent's Fang or GP is especially effective when you're playing into a Set, because it will destroy the shield that he gets out of his W. So Set usually wants to use his W as like I've taken a ton of damage lately, I'm going to W, reflect a lot of true damage and get a big shield, but now that shield won't be as effective. So one of their main kind of frontliners in this Set basically gets nullified by this item now, and GP's got it way earlier than usual due to the fact he got quite a big shutdown on the Viego. So the Set is actually helping Viego layer the camps down now, which you know, is kind of good to see, because now this means they can collapse on this GP way easier. I like how Umti's going all the way around. The W was a bit wasted, and the ult was terrible as well. Like, this was really bad by them. They do still get the kill, and they can potentially get another, especially if Umti knows how to play GP. I'm not sure if he will, though, but no. So this is what you see when players don't know how to play champions and they play Viego. This opens up this massive window where a lot of the times they'll just instantly ultimate to get rid of that soul, just because, you know, it's champions like GP are so hard. And if you're playing Viego jungle and you're a jungler, I mean, the chances are, obviously not always, that you're not really going to be as good mechanically as, say, a top laner that has played a ton of GP and it's a very hard champion. So unless you've got experience on it, it's not going to be as good. That shockwave actually did so much damage to Canyon. This Orianna is huge right now. Like, she's going to completely shaft the enemy comp now, especially considering she has that damage ultimate, which Ryze doesn't really have. So even though Ryze can use his ult for macro plays, it's still... so they did start a Baron. They are going to leave. Cam was sat in a ward that he didn't realise right there, so nothing can really come out of that. So we get a replay here. So this was the bot fight, and then he uses W. His W would be a waste anyway because he'll cleanse it, but then he uses his ultimate, which is ultimate as an execute. So you want to be saving that till the last minute possible. Getting on top of him for that gap closer is just not worth. And then see, he uses GP, but yeah, like he tries stacking 2 barrels, which on GP you don't want to stack 2 barrels instantly unless you're going for a triple combo. What you want to do is you want to put 1 barrel down, layer it down to 1 hit, and then you want to kind of E another barrel and then auto attack the one that is on 1 hit, and then it'll instantly chain to the second one, and so, you know, you actually get it off. And then he would have get the movement speed bonus as well, and his cleanse, which, you know, would have potentially got him out. So big misplay there. Obviously this is a very common thing with Viego due to the fact that he takes people's normal abilities. Sylas doesn't really have as much of this problem because when it comes to Sylas, an ult is much easier to use, and since you're much more used to playing around it rather than that. So they did actually manage to get the Q on the Ashe here. He's not going to commit to it. Just because, you know, Braum can potentially just ult him as soon as he comes in, and then he just instantly dies. So this is kind of one of the reasons why Braum is really, really a good pick into Lee Sin. This is why I actually said in the draft that they should have taken the Braum, because the Braum actually shuts down everything Lee Sin wants to do as of level 6, which is really, really bad. Because, okay, though, a nice insect on the Braum. Okay, so he W's to a minion and uses his flash, but he gets chased down instantly. A TP coming in, but they're going to instantly die as soon as they TP in, surely. Okay, never mind. They didn't commit to the TP, but the Orianna just gets instantly taken out. She's one of the main kind of damage dealers in these fights, so that's really, really bad for Bro. And DK are actually just going to get the objective off it. The Viego is still alive, but, you know, the Orianna and the Braum are both dead, so they can do it. Aphelios got red-white, so he's doing a ridiculous amount of damage right now. But they are looking to try and contest. They're getting around the back. GP is doing very well to point them out, to kind of poke them out, but the Set does get that E on them. Ashe is actually free, doing so much damage in the backline, and Set just completely tunnel visions on the Tahm Kench. This is really terrible. Umti now in his invisibility, they're just going to back away from this Baron. They weren't really in a position to contest it whatsoever as soon as the Orianna died. So, you know, like, when you have a fed Orianna like this, you can't really threaten a Baron, because if, say, the Viego comes around in his invisibility and ults in with Orianna Ball on him, she will easily get a potential 5-man shockwave, which, when you're doing that at Baron, since it reduces your resistances by so much, it's just really not good to do. So here we can see that they get instantly killed. They don't want to go too aggressive on this TP. Instead, the Ryze gets an amazing pick on the Orianna. That completely changed the game. That was one of the kind of really important picks that he needed to get. So Lee Sin, you know, jumps in on the set. It doesn't get cancelled, surprisingly, but this Ashe is just raining havoc on the backline. She's doing so much damage, but Set just completely griefs and goes for this Tahm Kench, where he's a support man. Like, you don't want to run that guy down. Like, what's the point? So now DK get Baron. If this is anything like China, they are really, really going to know what to do with the Baron. They're already nearly 2,000 gold up from the Baron play. and they're just going to look to slowly siege these minions. Orianna is kind of free, kind of hitting this top lane tower, which is going to be another, I get a nice fat 600 gold from that tower over to her. But we can see that the Ryze is pushing in bot lane. The Ryze and the GP did actually swap lane assignments, which was pretty interesting because GP also wants to be in a team fight, whereas Ryze gets really, really fast wave clear. GP can wave clear, but it's nowhere near as quick. They managed to get a pick on Set because, again, he's just walked in. So Hoya really is griefing this game at this point. I don't know. He's just getting caught repeatedly for no real reason. They've got Baron buff. You need to be in a defensive position so that you can help defend the base against these beefed up minions. So Canyon going for this Ocean. That's a good split of priority. Good split. So this is right now they're in a very, very this is very dominant. The Ryze has actually picked up a stopwatch and Lee Sin at this point, which they're really, really important because if they stopwatch correctly in one team fight, that's going to win them that team fight. And when you're this kind of far ahead, that one team fight will end the game. So we see a pick on Hoya. This was just complete grief. Like, he shouldn't have been there. Showmaker managed to get a kill on him and then use Ryze ult to get behind lava, but I think they just left that. And the Orianna then just instantly runs top and starts laying on the turret, which was very good by Lava, actually. This guy's been playing extremely well, all things considered. Lee Sin is going to get a little bit chased down, but it's no real issue. Dropping that emote spam. As we can see now, Khan and Showmaker both level 16, so they're both at their kind of late game stages right now, which those champions are so good in the late game that I think now DK, like I previously mentioned, has managed to do enough early game to okay, so actually Canyon's trying to 1v1 Hoya right now. Like, this doesn't seem too hot, to be completely honest, but that's fine. So Ghost is being left pretty much untouched, and they're going for the dive. They managed to get the Orianna almost. Lee Sin uses stopwatch, as I said. Very good stopwatch, otherwise there was a big potential for him to die. They're not going to go in on that, and now this is just easy winnings. They just have to push this inhib in. They can either look to force an end with a fight with these supers in mid lane, or they can just look to rotate into bot lane as well with this GP TP and get triple inhib if something goes crazy. I can't see anything going too insane. Oh, sorry, they got the Ashe, not the Orianna. So the Orianna can still actually defend base here. If she manages to get a wonder shockwave, maybe. But as we can see, look at how spread out they are right now. They're making sure that they're not clumped in a position where the Orianna can get a multi shockwave. Although this would have been a good opportunity for it, but she instantly gets one shot before she can actually even get it off. So this was a very, very convincing game from DK. I do still think there was a lot of mistakes that they made, especially with the way they kind of canyon pathed early into the game. But I think they found a flash out of one of their champions, one of the enemies, and then they just punished it super, super hard. Even a little BM on the platform, to be honest. They're just trying to get the damage up a little bit. Tam Kench jumps in like, oh, and they do actually get the kill with the sniper. So, I mean, pretty funny game, to be honest. Let's go on to game 2 now. I think overall, I mean, they're very, very, they're very good as a team. And you can tell, their coordination is, they're very on tune with what they want to achieve. So, I think one of the ways to beat DK is to punish mistakes that they actually do early and then use that to try and get momentum against them. So, I would be intrigued to see how they play when, behind in a game. I don't think they were really behind in this one. I mean, they lost and they got a nice double kill, but I don't think overall. So let's go into game 2.